Banner, physician, scientist, searching for a way to tap into the hidden strengths that all humans have. Then an accidental overdose of gamma radiation alters his body chemistry.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose, I love comic books. I love reading them, showing them to you, just so many things. It's a wonderful medium. Feel free to follow me on social media. I just like to post my drawings. I post about once or twice a week. Links are in the description below. You can also, I've posted a link to the Marvel fan site where you can look at plot synopsis and character. We're going to be looking at Incredible Hulk 312 from 1985. Now, this issue I must have read so many times as a kid. I was about 11 years old when this came out. So it's sort of a Secret Wars 2 tie-in, but it really isn't, but it really is. So it really isn't per se. So you don't have to know anything that's happened in Secret Wars 2 to enjoy this issue. It is in the middle of a story arc. However, this issue is mostly self-contained. So some stuff has been happening in the Incredible Hulk, and in the Marvel database you can kind of look at everything that's kind of be happening. This issue is John Byrne takes over I believe 2 issues later. I believe he takes over in 314. So there's one more issue before John Byrne ends up taking over for a short run, which I will be covering in its entirety. So this issue, well, first of all, this cover is actually drawn by 2 of my favorites. It is Mike Mignola and Bill Sienkiewicz doing this amazing cover. This issue, you can probably find it for about $10, $15, sometimes less, depending on where you look. But this sort of gives you the origin of the Hulk, but not the origin you think of. This issue breaks your heart. It truly is. Reading this thing is very, very sad. So it deals with poor Bruce growing up with his abusive father. Now, a lot of this stuff has been maybe referenced in passing, but this really, really, really put it center. So, all right, here we go. So there's a scream, and this is, of course, Brian Banner. And he's like, my wife, was she screaming? He's a very violent, horrible person. And she's saying, hey, you're hurting me. Someone called the obstetrician. You know, her husband's going crazy. So doctor here says that you were told that the birth would be difficult due to the position of the baby. And then Brian's like, why must my wife suffer? And he didn't want a kid. I can't believe that, a child's basically going to come between us. So he never really wanted a kid. So just kind of the stuff. Bill Mantlo, who's very tragic. He's had a very tragic life. Go read up on Bill Mantlo. He was involved in a hit-and-run accident. His assailant has never been caught, and the poor guy, I think there's a GoFundMe out there. It's been years, but he just suffered a tragic brain injury. So the obstetrician tells her that her labor is very painful, and she's in great risk, and He's recommending a cesarean section to save her life and the child. And Brian Banner, of course, says, the child, doctor, my wife is a priority. I love my wife. Do what you can to save her regardless. And then here he's thinking, so these are thought balloons. Why didn't I bring a bottle with me? So alcohol is involved. Here's your art team. Mike, I always say Mignola, so you'll have to. Some people will say Mignola. I say Mignola. So, um, and Gary Tallock is the inker. So you can already see that Brian Banner is not a good person. So they're gonna. I love how he's watching there as doctor's about. Oh man, oh man. So they're gonna put her in anesthesia, and she's under, and now they're going to um take the baby out. Of course, they keep saying, "Hey, nothing's normal about this birth." So, and Brian Banner heard it from the outside. He's like, "The doctor's right," and he wonders if all his years of atomic research, Janet, his genetic structure, this could all be his fault. I never should have let her talk to her into having a kid. The With all the radiation, his genes could be bombarded, and their son could be anything other than and so love this. The I love it that it's in black. Already Mike Mignola's showing um his future, and then a great splash page is coming, and then it continues with monster, and a great picture of the Hulk here, and at the same time Bruce Banner being born. I absolutely love this page. I think the credit should have come in here personally, but that's all right. Um, and so you're gonna see this little star as a theme. Um, this is so the Hulk is not on Earth during this time, and he is being his these beings are kind of peering into his mind, trying to learn the true origins of Hulk. So that's sort of what's going on. So you're gonna see a lot of symbolism in this, but of course you see the Hulk already here, how big he's grown. They had to keep him in intensive care Brian says to study him, and Rebecca's like, they found nothing wrong. Why should they have? Our baby's happy, healthy, and home. And she, of course, fawns over Bruce. And here, he's already jealous. Look how she fawns over him. All that attention used to be mine and mine alone. Um, he's jealous of his own son. Doesn't love him. Doesn't. And she says, "How come you never hold our son?" And he says, "It's getting late. We have that symposium and later dinner with the Baxters." And then she's like, "Hey, Bruce just got home. Can't we stay in and spend the night?" And Brian says that the symposium is important to his career and that the nurse will sit out with him. And she says, "As you wish." And so they leave, but this lady is horrible. And she's like, "Shut your trap. I don't want this job. I need this job. And I've got, if I got to watch other people's brats, I expect you to be quiet and amuse themselves." And then just throws him a doll in there and sit down and play. Now, these are sort of the characters that are uh, with Banner. So you'll see this reference a lot, but particularly when someone's evil, they'll take this persona here. I think this is called Goblin, and this guy's called Glow, if I remember correctly. Um, but feel free to click on the Marvel fan page if you'd like. So, and of course, he's already being neglected by the nanny. You can see him crying, and this thing represents his mom, per se, but just nobody loves him except his mom, and that it's just very sad, very tragic. And so time passes. You can see that he's a little older here. It's Christmas Eve, and sees the Christmas tree, and sees this big box, and it says from mommy. Wonders what it is, and I shouldn't open it, but oh, it's a building set, and he builds it, and just is having a good time. He's very smart, but then boom, and he sees here, and even Hulk, you can see the scared, and it's Brian. He's like, oh, he was just building it. He's like, no child your age should be able to build something so intricate. He must be a freak after all. The radiation didn't affect your body, it altered your mind. And he kicks it. He just says, I should have died years ago, and just starts blaming him. He's been drinking here. He needs to kill him before he gets into adult. His wife, of course, is admonishing him for, and sees that you've been drinking, and says to go back to bed. That thing is in our son, and they're saying, um, you know, that thing is in our son. She's like, he was inside me. He grew inside my body, and he slaps her. He intends to correct that mistake. She's like, I won't let you harm Bruce. Um, Bruce, of course, jumps in to go help his mom. He smacks him out of the way. Just wow. It is just something here. So his dad's like, should have done this from the beginning. His mom tries to get between them, and he's like, he's inhuman, he's different, he's a monster. Just how horrible this is all. And the nurse is gonna be coming down. She's still kind of living there as a nanny. So here, of course, she's saying that he's been checked. There's nothing wrong with him because of all his fears with radiation. And in reality, Brian just hates him. He just always hated Bruce. You saw it from the very beginning. So Brian's convinced he's a freak, and it was, he says his wife's the one that wanted the kid. He wanted her attention, for the two of them to be happy, and they used to get along so well, and she just kept insisting for having a kid. Of course, the nurse is down here. So she says that they were just talking, and to please take Bruce to the room. She just points at Bruce. She's just also cold, and so she just look at the mom here, and Bruce is walking up, and of course sees that star at the top, just cries, and you can see even the Hulk. It just, this issue brings so much humanity. Peter David eventually starts writing the Hulk, and he brings in even more great stuff to the Hulk. But this issue, I think, in my opinion, more than anything else, the Hulk was always like, oh, mindless monster, has just all this destruction. And this really, of every issue of Hulk that has done, is one of the ones that really, really, really put this thing on the map. So, all right, or put that humanity in the map is what I mean. I mean, this issue is probably one of the best issues of the Hulk. So time has passed here, and Science High School, so one of those high schools that are specialized. They're all like, even a school of gifted banner makes everybody looks like pikers, whatever that means. Must mean like they're all dumb. That they never talk to anybody, that he thinks he's too smart. Um, the headmaster meets with Bruce's guardian, who's his aunt. Basically, he's incredibly smart, and he shuns his fellow students, and they shun him, and he has no friends. He cares for nothing but his study. She tells him he's had a difficult childhood. Uh, of course, um, Bruce's dad killed his mother, and here they flat out say it. So, and his aunt has custody of him, and so she says Bruce's life has been tragic, and he of course says what we all say, that his rage has been internalized, and he dreads the day that he finally lets that rage out. Of course, this guy here is gonna mess up his experiment here, and it's going to cause a mess. And he's like, "No, my calculations was correct. There's no way." And it created an explosion. This guy comes in here. Is this the idea of a joke? He's like, "No, it wasn't. It wasn't my idea at all. It's impossible." And he says he expected more of you. He thinks it's a a prank. Sorry, and everybody, of course, it's just more tragedy. And if you can see in green, you can see the Hulk behind him or in him or whatever you want to say. Just um, that this issue is so good. So Bruce goes to see his mom, and so he's here at the anniversary of her murder, and so um, the father and son are gonna have a confrontation. If I could also suggest something for you to read, Barry Windsor Smith has an incredible graphic novel titled Monster that was originally going to be a bigger treatment of this story, but Marvel passed on it. He decided to kind of do it on his own, with own things, kind of. But give that a look, and just imagine that it was the Hulk instead of whatever the main. It's wonderful to read when you look at it in the context that it was supposed to be this story, but told even uh, with even more tragedy. So his dad was in a mental hospital, so blames him for not being able to attend the funeral. Calls him a monster, hits him. So he, of course, didn't go to jail. They temporary insanity, and it fooled the jury. They tortured, the torture that they all endured. And I mean, here Brian, his own son, kicking him. Just what a prick. So the Rebecca tried to escape, but Brian killed her, and he keeps saying she knew what you were, and she allowed you to grow with that evil still inside. And just he's a horrible person, and it really makes you feel bad for him. Calls it a mutant, which is what they the X-Men and all that kind of stuff. But he's like, he just keeps punching him too. So he says that when his work is scrutinized, they'll know that no human intellect could have made those scientific leaps, and that they'll realize that he's the monster and all that kind of stuff. And Bruce, who couldn't fight back, says, "You are mad," and and that he's smart on his own, nothing to do with being a mutant. So he throws this thing for his mom, and hopes she's proud of him. Um, and so then some more time, and we get to the gamma base, of course, where he's going to start the gamma tests. So here he meets Betty, and for those of you that don't know, Betty is his love interest, and she is General Thunderbolt Ross's daughter. And if you're not familiar, Thunderbolt Ross is who eventually becomes a Red Hulk many, many years later. And so, anyway. So she's kind of showing him around. She asks who that is. He says that's his mom, and this is an old doll that he meant to throw out, but of course it means stuff to him, and he's like, oh, I guess I forgot about it. And Thunderbolt Ross is here. Of course, Thunderbolt is not happy that Betty is in there, and she says, you're distracting them. These people are here to work. And so he wants the gamma bomb built. Thunderbolt doesn't like having a civilian. He wishes that it would have been a military man, and he knew his father and that was a real man. And of course, it was meant to be a dig, which is exactly how he took it. So, and that he's a murderer. And here you can see Ross grabbing his toy, and his arm breaks. He's like, I want my bomb, and just build me the bomb. And again, this is the Goblin character. And so now that motherly love goes on top of Betty, because that is who Betty it sort of is. So he doesn't have a lot of love. So it's not he's not a mother figure. He's just someone who loves him because he doesn't have a lot of love in his life. So, and she knows that she'll build the bomb that he wants. And here we're exiting with the mom and the kind of toy. And so here's the bomb. And everything's kind of going as planned. Of course, if you remember, this guy here is for Russian, and he is gonna try to sabotage the bomb. And Bruce is looking, and here comes Rick Jones. So he tells him to stop, but of course, he doesn't stop. Hopes that they'll be able to kill Banner. He'll be able to steal the things to go to Russians, and he's in here. And Rick is here on a dare. He pushes the button. He pushes Rick out of the way, and the bomb blows. Great. I don't know how to, like, an analogy to everything, that's because it's his mom and the toy just kind of getting shaken. And of course, he gets the brunt of that bomb, and he turns into the Hulk, who, by the way, was supposed to be gray, but hey, we get the big green monster instead. And so here we are now, and this is sort of the people that had been, this is like a triad. And so this part, you'll have to just read up on it. I'll just kind of move it along so you can kind of look at Mike Mignola's art, and then him turning back into Bruce, and then kind of pondering. So this thing, he's been in this a crossroad, you could say. And then this is a Secret Wars 2 part where the Beyonder's there, and just kind of like a one or two page thing. So it's just a brief thing, just to kind of get people to buy comic books. But he's they gotta stick him in here because it was part of the plan. So we'll just kind of keep going here. So yeah. So I hope you liked it. So like I said, it's one of my favorite issues of Hulk. So Incredible Hulk 312 from 1985. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.